Welcome. I'm Dante St. James, and today we're talking about newsletters and making those a little bit less labor intensive to put together, and by also leveraging the power of AI, like we are doing with everything these days. But beyond just the AI, we're also looking at the ability for you to tap into some of the styles of newsletter that are working really well for other people, and probably some of the more famous newsletters you've come across, everything from Morning Brew, things to, and then your favorite influencers on LinkedIn all have their favorite method of doing an email. But what you start to see is about 11 or 12 stock standard styles of email newsletter that seem to happen. So we've tied into a few of those in something called NewsMuster. I got sick of writing emails all the time. I don't just write them for myself, I write them for clients as well. And trying to like do a custom GPT over in Chat GPT for everything is kind of driving me crazy. So I thought, well, I've got to build my own thing here, because if I'm going to write that style of email for them, then I'm going to have something that is specifically made for email writing and email newsletter writing, not just for generalized writing and content creation, like say ChatGPT or even Google Gemini is. Although it would be something which hopefully could tap into the power of those models. So I came up with NewsMuster. I'm going to show you how to use it. And at the end of this, you'll get your free code for lifetime free access to it as well. Not looking for any money out of this. It's just something I built for myself. And I figured maybe it can help a few other people too. Let's share that screen and get running. Let's make sure I share the right screen. Here we go. So this is what NewsMuster looks like in there. You can see I've done a few newsletters in there myself, a couple of them today. The output includes things that are in particular kinds of frameworks. So think about the kind of frameworks your business might use for a newsletter. Some of them are corporate updates, but this is kind of like beyond that. Here's the letter from the CEO. Here's the report from the treasurer. It avoids all that boring stuff and goes to the heart of what really is happening with email newsletters these days, which is giving value to people. So what I'll do is start with create newsletter up the top here. I might just make the screen a little bit bigger so you can read it a bit more. So let's see if we can make that a bit bigger. There we go. Hit create newsletter. And I can pick one of these many different types of email newsletter. So a daily briefing, when you look at the world's most important news in 5 different blocks, 1 minute per block, based upon the things you do. So well, let's look at that one first, because this one's a pretty easy one to do. So what I want to do is select the framework, call it maybe daily digital news. And what it lets me do is include news stories from elsewhere. So I'm going to pop in is go to social media today. They're going to have a spit at me because I don't allow their ads because there's so damn many of them. We're going to go X will soon indicate profiles using a VPN. That looks great. LinkedIn denies gender bias. It's a very hot topic right now. Meta adds content strategy advice that they're verified. Let's see. YouTube expands access to Gen AI. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4. One more, and I'll have my 5. And we'll go X clarifies detail. Facebook allowing nicknames when posting in groups. What I'll do is going to get the address for each of those and whack it into this here. So news story 1, add a new link. Then we go to news story 2, the LinkedIn one, whack that in, add link, and it gives me another option. So I go to news item 3. So if you're someone who follows a lot of news and you want to share that really quickly with people, even on a daily basis, this is how quick you can put together a little daily briefing on subjects that are important to your industry. So in my case, it's social media because it was easy to find, and I'd read these articles this morning. So I've added them all. I've got a word count target here of 500 to 700 words. I can make it shorter or longer. 5 to 700, that's probably about the sweet spot for a daily briefing. Let's generate that. So as you can see here, it's using Google's Gemini, the very latest model of Gemini, 3 Pro, which you usually need a Pro account to access that. And look at that, it's already written out this, the daily digital news, your essential tech and social media updates. So you can change that to whatever you like. Welcome to your daily digital news briefing. Here we bring the latest developments in tech, marketing, and social media. Let's dive into today's top stories. And then it's got a little bit of a breakdown on that, and then the link through to where you can go to the source where it got it from, which is there. So you're doing that. It's actually linking all the things through so people can go and read more. So you can become a really, really cool source of news from people, basically by curating the news that's all flooding through our feeds every day and just putting in something once a week or once a day if you really want to get that heavy and do a quick one. And there it is. So and it's also taking what's in there in these linked articles and saying what you need to do now. So it's giving you then, okay, if you've got a Meta Verify page, consider whether the new advice aligns with the business goals. And if the subscription cost is justified, look at groups, explore the nickname feature, stay informed about upcoming profile features, be aware of the factors influencing post reach and ensure your content strategy aligns with LinkedIn's algorithmic considerations. So it's actually giving a little bit of a recommendation as well based upon those news articles. So that is the quickest like newsletter you'll ever write, where you don't actually have to provide overview to it. All you do is just take the news, summarize it into a little update that people can read on a daily or weekly basis, and then out it goes. And you can just copy all that. So you just go, copy. Let's get down the bottom, and I usually just go highlight it all. What I could probably add in here is a little copy button, probably be helpful, and go, welcome to your daily digital news briefing. Go into my high level, which I use for my email newsletters. You might use MailChimp or MailerLite or one of the plethora of other newsletters that you'll use, and that's your content done. Let's create a new one. This time we're going to go with the Thought Leader essay. So this is sharing original perspectives with a bit of analysis. So if you consider yourself a thought leader or you want to be one, this is where you can really shine. So let's go, select a framework. So the thought leadership essay, I'm going to call, what's the main thesis? Well, I'm going to pick up something from one of my content topics this week. So here's my list of content that I'm doing this week. So I'm going to go, you can never apply every lesson and framework gurus on YouTube teach me if they don't use them either. Oh, that's really, really spicy. So let's put that in there. You can never apply every lesson that the gurus on YouTube teach because they don't use them either. Like I'm going to record this in here because I'm terrible at typing. One of my favorite, where is it? One of my favorite, no, it's not going to work. So I'm just going to, one of my favorite creators. Usually these things, oh, there it is. It just took a while to get on there. So one of my favorite creators is someone who creates a lot of content every week about creating videos. And the problem is, though, that he has a new framework every week that he likes to promote and spruik and get you to follow up on. The trouble is, if you look through the content he's done over the last year, he's created something like 200 different frameworks. It's absolutely impossible this guy would actually use 200 different frameworks himself. So why is he expecting us, as the people who are following him, to also use 200 different frameworks to make content? This is showing us in the industry that you can't always believe what you read or see on YouTube. So hopefully that's going to come up. That's all right. I'm really struggling with. Sorry about this. It's usually much more responsive. What I'm going to do is go into ChatGPT and copy it in there because it's much more reliable. Here we go. I follow a guy on YouTube who's really, really big into videos and video editing. He has tons and tons of frameworks to help you make better videos. The trouble is, though, this guy makes 3 or 4 videos a week himself, and every single video has some new framework that he uses accordingly to create his videos. So if you go back over the last 2 years of his content, there would be at least 200 different frameworks that he's been spruiking, and they're all different. They all do different things. And it seems to me that it's impossible for him or anyone to possibly use 200 different video making frameworks. And the fact is that he's not doing that at all. And that got me thinking about how you can't believe everything you get on YouTube. So it's a bit more reliable doing the talking in, the dictation. So this is going to bring me my dictated words. I'm going to go and copy and paste that back in. There we go. Oh, there it is. It's finally put it in there. So on YouTube is there. And I follow a guy on YouTube is where we started. So it's actually got it in there after all. Just took a while to come up. Industry contact. I'm going to go, how does your perspective relate to current industry trends? People follow gurus on YouTube to get advice, but that advice isn't even what the gurus use themselves. So it's misleading at best. at best, fraudulent advice at worst. So a bit of a spicy take I'm going to have in this newsletter. The future implications, so it's saying, what are the broader implications of this? So what it is like, it's going to cause sadness and anxiety in future content creators who can't keep up with the pace of all these new frameworks that these gurus claim that they use. I'm going to do 800 to 1200 words. Let's generate my thought leadership essay. This one's a little bit longer because it's taking a lot of extra input to it. So I've created all that extra input. This one's using Gemini as well. And the reason why I use Gemini as the basis for this is so that it takes advantage of that big 1 million token context window that Gemini uses. ChatGPT tends to have a very small context window. So using very complex tasks like not only taking all my input, but also taking all the information I put in my settings about this particular style of newsletter, would probably max out ChatGPT and really struggle to do this consistently well. Whereas Gemini does it really well. So it didn't take long. Hi there, I've been spending a bit of time lately going down the YouTube rabbit hole. You know how it is. You start looking for one specific tip on video editing and marketing. 3 hours later, you're deep in the archives of a channel you've never seen before. I found myself watching a creator who's massive in the video editing space. As you can see, this has done a bloody good job, and it's used Australian spelling, which I'm really happy with. That's great. Bad for business. They need you to come back tomorrow. So they invent a new framework. They repackage an old idea with a fancy acronym. This is awesome. This is a fantastic newsletter if I was trying to be a thought leader. And it's even picked up that I'm Dante, because I've got some settings in this that allow it to go, you're Dante, these are your areas of expertise. And maybe there's your call to action you want at the bottom of these as well. So that's given us another newsletter. Let's try another style. Let's try maybe the structured framework, since we're talking about framework. So let's go structured framework. I'm going to call this my 2, 3, 5 content creation framework. And what I'm doing is creating a newsletter around this. So if I'm like the guy I was talking about and creating a new framework every week, this would be a great idea for me, because it's actually, here's the name. So I'm going to call it the 235 Content Creation Framework, the recurring theme. What consistent theme or topic will this framework address each time? Running out of ideas to create content about when you are a business owner. So see, the common theme you're going to find in here is these aren't going to write an entire newsletter for you with one line of text. You have to put something in there. So in here, the sections are introduction, key insight, practical application, conclusion. So what I can do is add a bit more detail in there. We can say the introduction then is going to have a bit of information about it, the practical application, the conclusion. So in here, I might put the framework includes using 2 topics that are broad enough to not run out of content quickly, but specific enough. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this in ChatGPT as well, because it's so much faster for me to talk rather than type. This framework is based upon using 2 topics that are broad enough for you to be able to riff on any subject that's underneath that topic, but also specific enough so that people at a first glance can tell that you are doing something which is on brand and on target and on topic for you. Then you have 3 values, things that are not aspirations, but things that you actually can achieve now in your business. Things like integrity, maybe approachability or honesty or things like that. And the third piece is to answer one of these 3 questions in the content that will be created. First question is, what can I teach? The second is, what have I noticed? The third question is, how do I think differently about this topic? The fourth question is, how can I deliver this topic as a list? The fifth question being, what happened in my business around this topic and what did I do to cause that? Those 5 questions, 3 values, and 2 topics help you to rotate through a whole lot of different content without you having to think every week, what am I going to write? So I told you I talk far more clearly than what I type. Typing is not my strong point. So let's have a look what that comes out like. And I'm going to copy that, paste that into it. So I've done my framework into here. There we go. I can add a section name if I want there, but introduction to key insight, practical application, and conclusion is pretty good. I'm going to give it a bit more words. So I'm going to do like the 700 to 1,000 words. So this could just as easily be a blog post. So that's the sort of hidden feature you kind of find in these tools is they might be good for one thing, but often really good for something else as well. So these lengths are very, very common for things like articles, blogs, those kind of things. They help you to structure it. A long time ago, you'd have to pay a fortune to something like Jasper to be able to get this kind of guidance through writing a structured blog or a structured newsletter or something like that. So this is, again, taking all that input I've put in, but it's also taking the instructions that are being built in this to create this kind of structured newsletter. Here we go. We've all been there. Monday morning, you have your coffee in hand, carved out an hour in your calendar, specifically labeled content creation. You sit down, crack your knuckles, open your document, and then nothing, just a blinking cursor mocking you. So here we go. Content creation framework. Let's see if it got it right. 2 represents your topics. 3 represents your values. 5 represents the questions, and it got it really spot on. Wow. Practical application. How do we put this into practice? We start rotating these variables. Take one topic, filter it through one value, and then answer one question. Let's look at a practical example. 2 topics, team culture, conflict resolution. 3 values, application. Week 1, team culture, accountability. What have I noticed? Week 2, this is fantastic. It's actually taken all this and filled in the gaps that I didn't even tell. I didn't even tell it about how the examples could work with doing this. So this is basically, I could take this because this is my framework for writing content. So I could take this and post this as a blog right now into my website, and it will be completely usable. So that's another example. Now, there are tons of examples of these. Let's just quickly run through them. I won't use them all. The deep dive analyst delivers unseen insights and data-driven strategy. So you're going to provide examples for a particular strategy that you've found useful. The structured framework we did, the thought leader essay we did, the curated listicle. This is kind of cool. So this is like filtering out, taking ideas that are quite complex and turning them into a simple list. The niche playbook, again, is actionable guides for very specific things. So you take something from your industry that you can break it down into something really actionable for people. The founder's journey is like a bit of a diary on your insights from your own journey. I think that's a really cool one for those who are trying to build a personal brand. The community hub is where you're doing engagement with the audience. So this might be your weekly email based upon your Facebook group, where you take the best posts, you highlight them, you put it in here, and you talk about maybe in a bit more depth some of the topics that came up. The personal essayist is very, very similar to the founder's journal, but it's very much about telling individual life stories from your life experiences. Really useful for coaches who want to get across a point and use an example from their own life to illustrate that point. And the aggregator feed is looking at content from lots of different sources and smushing that together into one long article, which then allows people to click on the links to find where that article actually came from. And then, of course, I've got a custom blank, start with your own ideas, figure out your own framework, and off you go. So the question often is, how much is this going to cost? It's usually $50 a year or $5 a month. But I'm giving you a really happy discount thing. So when you go to upgrade, you get it free with this particular code. So DIH 2025. So just jot that one down at newsmuster.app. DIH 2025, you'll get full access to it for the rest of its life. So now, what does life mean? It usually means as long as I keep interested in it. So far, it's been around about 3 months now I've been running it. So I use it. So I'm not going to throw it out anytime soon. So as long as I use it, hey, it'll be available there for you, probably for some time afterwards. I've got quite a few subscribers already in there. So I've got some incentive to keep it running. It's definitely paying for itself. So newsmuster.app is where you'll get it. And you get all those frameworks in there and for free lifetime access because you've been kind enough to follow me on this this webinar, DIH 2025, DIH for Darwin Innovation Hub 2025, and I'll give you free lifetime access on all of those. And if you have a struggle with it, please just hit me up on LinkedIn or an email, and I'll be able to manually upgrade you anyway if you hit any sort of struggles along there. So please have a go at it, enjoy it, see if it works for you. Send me a feedback, because I really like to know if it's been useful for you and if there's something you would like to put in there. I've been really fortunate having some users who give me tons of feedback. And just yesterday, I upgraded all the AIs to the very latest models to be able to run this. And the output has been sensational. I've been really, really happy with. Well, you saw the examples, right? It was working really well. So that's all you need to do. DIH 2025 at newsmuster.app. Please let me know how you go, because I'd be really interested to see. It's made here in this office. Well, actually, the office is over there, but same building. And it's something which I'm really proud to have built. So hopefully you'll find it as useful as I have. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.